Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, for every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health is heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, where today you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Well, Friday's show was a little different for us. We went to a guest on Friday. We didn't open them up to you. Today, we're going to do just that. In preparation, a month of May, I'll tell you, is going to be probably one of the best months we've had for guests up and coming. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. But to ease on out of April, as we move into the last week of April, and ease on in to the roar of the May show lineup, today we're going to open it up to you. I'm going to share with you some things I've been keeping back. It's sort of accumulated up enough mass now that I need to bring them to your attention. Things in the news. Every so often I do come across my sort of run them off and put them aside. Today I'll bring to you my offering, things I've found in the news that deserve comment. You may decide to come on and bring your offering to us today by dialing us up at 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. We'll listen for that knock on the door, and we will let you in the store. Okay, let's see how things are shaping up now. With respect to the remainder of the month, we have a eye protocol begins today, 3-day conduct protocol. And of course, we do have one program a month here involving eye treatment programs, as have been developed by Dr. Conrad over a many-year period. I'll report to you on Wednesday how well this particular group went. Of course, we fully expect to have major turnarounds for the retinal diseases that come to us most of the time in the form of either macular degeneration, glaucoma, or diabetic retinopathy. Others, of course, but those three are the biggest ones. Now, let's go through our May lineup. It looks something like this. On the 4th of May, a Monday, we'll have Todd Wiley with us. I haven't met Todd yet, but Todd is an optometrist from out in the state of Washington. Has had a tremendous advance and ability to correct cataracts. We're bringing him on the same day that we're going to have our free cataract clinic seminar, and you're going to find out about driving a Beamer around. A Beamer, not the Beamer BMW kind, but a device that has really rocked the world of the eye industry, and we're bringing the Beamer to town. So Todd Wiley will be with us on Monday, and then don't forget on Monday afternoon, the cataract clinic, the first cataract clinic held here in this office, will be the 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. That's a 4-day cataract clinic program. If you have cataracts and you've been worried about moving toward that surgery, and you should be, because that surgery, although it can have an awful ability, a tremendous ability to get things turned around quickly with your vision, there are complications and side effects you weren't counting on. We'll be talking a lot about those in the month of May. But Todd Wiley will be our guest on May the 4th, Monday, to kick off the month of the first cataract clinic here. Then on Wednesday, she'll be back, folks. We're talking about Dr. Susan Smith-Jones herself. She'll be our guest, as she is usually on the first Wednesday of each and every month. And so May 6th, first Wednesday, she will be with us. On the 11th, Dr. Tom Lowe. Tom Lowe is coming aboard again. We last brought him to our attention. It was way back in the beginning of 2014, because we met him at a ozone conference, and he was the gentleman that had the greatest parallel therapy to accompany ozone. We call it ultraviolet blood irradiation, and we've been using a steady diet of it ever since. Tom will be back with us to talk more about UBI, as well as now ozone, and particularly in-home ozone. So many patients would like to be able to administer ozone to themselves, and I will tell you that rectal insufflation is probably the best way to accomplish that. Tom will be speaking about that on our May 11th show. You don't want to miss it. Then, on the 13th, we're bringing him back, folks. He's been here many times before, but it's been quite a while since his last visit. He has a unique way of doing trace mineral testing, trace mineral correction, and in so doing, he has discovered natural chelation therapy. And for so many of you out there that really worry about IV chelation therapy and not a big fan of it, also other forms of even oral chelation, you may want to hear about a natural form of correcting heavy metal toxicity by doing nothing more than taking the right minerals. That whole explanation I'm going to let up to Mr. Ed Kane. He's the owner of a company called Body Bio. He's got a very famous wife. We mention her frequently here. Her name is, Patricia Kane, sometimes just referred to as PK. She devised the PK protocols that we have used here so often. He'll be our guest on the 13th, and you don't want to miss it. Now, I see here on Thursday evening, on the 14th of May, which is 7 o'clock in the evening in my office, the Young Living meeting will be occurring this month. It was a glorious success last month when Sharon Bovalina, who was our guest on Friday, brought together a whole bunch. I think I had 15 or 20 people here, and it's a nice size meeting here in my office. All those who think they'd like to be interested in learning about Young Living essential oils, there's someone who knows an awful lot about them. Sharon Bovalina is the person to go to. Give us a call here at 724-942-3002. If you're interested, we'll save you a seat in the room. That's the 14th, 7 o'clock. Excuse me. Now, the following week, besides being our first cataract clinic that we're going to hold here on 18/19/2021, while all that's going on, our guest on the 18th in the morning is John Tobridge. He is the go-to clinician, doctor, alternatively minded, in Houston, Texas. And I saw him, and I've known him for many years. I saw him at the recent conference that I was at on chelation therapy, just not this past weekend, but the weekend before. And he did such a great job. I said, you got to bring that topic to my guest, and he will be here on the 18th to do just that. Then, at the same conference, good friend of yours and mine, he's been on our show many times, a very unusual cardiologist, folks, because as many times as I've heard him speak, I don't think he's spoken once about the field of cardiology. He has branched out into so many different areas. This is an area that deserves discussion. It is all the energy therapies wrapped up into one. In fact, he's written a book about it. I'll give you more information on how to get that book. But Lee Cowden, Dr. Lee Cowden, will be our guest on the 20th of May talking about all those energy therapies. Now, anniversary time. And I didn't realize it, that the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy group has been meeting over a 40-year period. Now, my hat's off to them. They really struck the right chord and note, evidently now 40 years ago. They've continued to maintain their integrity throughout that entire 40-year period. They're going to have a special 40th anniversary meeting going to be held at the Butler location. You know, that's where it all started up there in Butler. Well, the 40th anniversary will be held there. 7 o'clock days in, you know the place. It was where history was made. And the featured speakers are going to be Dave Fish and Faith Starr. More about that as the dates tick off. I just think we have to do something special for our 40th anniversary up there. Get ready for it. That is going to be the fourth Thursday of the month, so it's going to be a little bit confusing. And, of course, they've been holding these down here in the Oakmont area, and this one is going to be back up to the original place, 40th anniversary, going to be held on the 21st, and 7 o'clock. You know that the whole thing, Days Inn, just south of Butler. Anyway, all in play. That's how May is shaping up. Couple of things as I look off in the month of June, that far ahead, but I got to mention this fellow who, he's been a rock star at so many conferences I've been at on the subject of Lyme disease. His name is Dr. David Minkoff. His practice in Clearwater, Florida, and I refer to him as the gunslinger because he does take this disease on. He'll be talking about it with us all the way out. The first time he could do it, his girl said it was the first opportunity, June 17th. Anyway, that's how I see it. That's how it's in the book, and that's how we'll be ticking them off one by one as time moves on. Now, a little bit more about the eye programs. As many of you know by now who suffer from the retinal diseases, we've got another program coming up, starting today, really. And we've been doing these eye programs since Dr. Condra turned over the keys to the place back in July of 2013. We've been doing these one a month ever since, and we've had tremendous successes as are expected to occur. Greater than 90% of those who participate have major, and I do mean major, turnarounds of their retinal diseases in 3 days. So the next one we're going to hold on the retinal diseases won't be till June. We seem to have an alternating schedule now. At least that's the way it's shaping up. And so the one we're holding this month, which begins today, will not be held until June. And I do have the dates. The June program is June 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. So if you've been holding off, waiting to try to get involved with such a program, and this one you just can't make because actually we already have all the records in of those who are participating in it, won't be held until June 22nd, 23rd, 24th, but plenty of time now. Literally a 2-month wait to get into the next course flow. So give us a call at 724-942-3002. Now what we are going to hold in May is the first cataract clinic. We're putting together multiple modalities that have proven to reverse cataracts in that short a period of time, in 4 days. And we'll have a special event in my office on May 4th. That is a Monday at 7 o'clock. We've invited Dr. Lisa Bowen. Those of you who may have never met her and would like to meet her, she consented to come aboard, and she'll be a part of that presentation on the 4th of May, talking about cataracts in general, and then I'll talk about the cataract clinic in particular. I think that you'll want to be a part of this. So many people have big concerns about cataracts and do not want, and I mean they absolutely do not want that cataract surgery. Because I got an interesting concept. Patient was here just the other day, told by her eye doctor that she has the beginnings of a cataract, and at some point in the future she's going to have the cataract removed. And you know what? She looked pretty comfortable with that recommendation. Now, when I put it to her in just a little different way, the look on her face was nothing but one of shock and dismay, because you don't remove a cataract. A cataract is the name given to what the lens turns into when it begins to develop this cloudy film within the protein matrix of the lens. And so you don't remove a cataract, you remove a lens, your lens, the one that you came into this world with. Yes, it goes away. It's going to be taken out. And so I think maybe on purpose that the physicians involved with maybe taking them out tend to downplay what's actually going on here. And we want to prevent that need for that surgery at all costs. And you want to hear more about that comes on as it continues to develop. And what better way than coming to our free clinic seminar, cataract clinic seminar, going to be held Monday, May 4th, 7 o'clock. Once again, give us a call, 724-9002. Ask for Sister Sarah, and we'll reserve a seat for you in the house. We'll let it go with that. All right, let's take a short break. When we come back, I've got plenty on my plate that I've been holding back and waiting for the right time to talk to them, talk to you about them. Maybe you have something on your plate to offer us. You know, if you want to do that, give us a call at 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. I'll listen for that knock on the door, and I will let you in the store. We'll be right back in a moment with my initial offerings. We'll see how it goes. Be right back. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Heard here in KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today in the Monday morning version of the show, slightly different. We occupied last week with the guests and got to Friday, and it was not a get them out of town version. And we're sort of welcoming you here today, not to get out of town, but to get this thing moving this week and have opened it up to you. Anything on your mind is okay with me just by dialing us up at 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262 to see what you'd like to offer us. Anything on your mind is okay with me. Question or comment, either form, perfectly all right. Now, I've got a couple things I wanted to bring to your attention. They've been building up over some time, and I thought it was time to let them loose. One on a subject that, well, you may want to say, there he goes again, because it's a subject that's been a sore subject with me for many, many years now. And when I mention it, you're going to go, oh, yeah, that absolutely, he's at it again, folks. But, of course, this is the topic on mammography, on mammograms. And every so often we get another article that appears like they're driving a stake through the heart of mammography, and then lo and behold, somebody resurrects it again from the ashes. Let's see how this one sits with you, because it certainly caught my attention. This is now a couple weeks old. This comes out of Washington, and in particular, a group called the Health Affairs. The study published Monday in the Journal of Health Affairs. That's what it was. Anyway, this was a study done on a financial assessment of mammography in terms of the problems that it creates. Now, you'll see what I mean here in just a moment. It said the study published on Monday in the Journal of Health Affairs breaks the cost down as follows. $2.8 billion, that's with a B, resulting from false positive mammograms. That's the cost of doing these annually, folks. 2.8 billion. And this isn't the false positive. These folks do not have breast cancer, but they're certainly being diagnosed or being considered to have breast cancer, and they're going to need to get their workups. And the kabuki dance of the mammogram will start to unfold in front of that very person because, well, of course, we have to have a biopsy, and we'll do a lumpectomy, and then you may need to have your chemotherapy. All of this over a study that actually is negative, but is read as false positive. Now, that was 2.8 billion with a B. Add that to 1.2 billion with a B attributed to breast cancer overdiagnosis. Now, that's the treatment of tumors that grow slowly or not at all. And they are unlikely to develop into life-threatening diseases during a woman's entire lifetime. The cost estimates cover women ages 40 to 59. The study authors, in particular Dr. Ong and Dr. Kenneth Mandel, say their findings indicate that the cost of breast cancer and overtreatment appears to be much higher than earlier estimates. The 4 billion figure, so when you add up the 2.8 and the 1.2, that's 4 billion. 4 billion figure is the midpoint of a range that depends on assumptions about the rates of false positive mammograms and breast cancer overdiagnosis. Now, this was their findings, but then, of course, there are a group of doctors who earn a living off of mammograms, and they weren't too happy about the findings and the fact that they were being released. And, in fact, they had an expert that was brought to the podium, and he said, there's no attempt to balance the cost with the benefits. And so, okay, it was 4 billion, and that's a lot. And okay, some people had to have treatments that really didn't require them. But look at the good. Look at the good that these things do. And that was a report that was supported by the American Cancer Society, as you might add. Now, the closer here is the retort, the answer to the question, well, what about the good things that mammograms do? And so Dr. Mandel responded to that question, and I think sums up quite nicely what this whole thing with mammograms should be viewed as. Certainly he views it as, and it goes something like this. Mandel responded that the assumption in his studies are supported by other research, and that by definition, and here's the closer, there is no medical benefit. This is a big statement. There is no medical benefit to mammograms that produce false positive results. There's no benefit to a study that produces that many false positive results. There shouldn't be mammography based on all that. Forget about the money. Think of the maiming of females under the guise that they're here to help. And of course, harken back to the day that we had our previous discussions. It's been quite a while now, but the issue of a mammogram being able to detect the cancer early enough is the problem. The battle cry is right. The battle cry is the best protection is early detection. I actually agree with that. I think that's 100% accurate. Unfortunately, the tool called mammograms is not the tool to early detect. In fact, usually the parameters that one expects that for mammogram to be able to reveal cancer, if it's to be a lesion, is at 1 centimeter of growth. Mammograms aren't really helpful in lesions that are smaller than 1 centimeter. They really don't light up. Now, if you can remember, there's something that we refer to around here as the Courtney 1 millimeter rule. And this 1 millimeter rule has stood the test of time. In fact, I can't tell you how frequently in a setting where I'm with medical colleagues of mine, I will ask. I'll say, you know what? Could you let me explain this thing I refer to as the Courtney 1 millimeter rule? and let me know what you think. And if you think I'm in error or in any way misleading, would you please tell me? Because I mention this to patients all the time. Now, it's been going on 20 years. I've met a lot of my colleagues. We've had this discussion over and over again, and over a 20-year period, and that may mean couple hundred friends of mine. I have yet to have any one of those doctors do anything other than think for a moment and then go, "Oh no, you're right." So let me share the Courtney 1 millimeter rule with you, especially if you had never heard it before. The Courtney 1 millimeter rule goes something like this. Anytime a malignancy has attained the size of 1 millimeter, that's pretty small, but there's no mammograms that are detecting lesions at 1 millimeter. But anytime a malignancy has acquired that size, it is already off to the races. It's already metastasized to where I do not know, and it's going to require a doubling time of many years in order to rear its ugly head. All the while, all the attention is being directed to the breast, with a lesion that was picked up on a mammogram that was at least 1 centimeter in size. That's 10 times the size that it would need to be before it metastasized. It needs to be discoverable at the 1 millimeter size. It is not helpful to find them at 1 centimeter. So, the cat is out of the bag. Not only is this tool unable to detect a cancer when it really needs to be detected in order to, well, the best protection is early detection. And early detection is not 1 centimeters of growth. Early detection is before 1 millimeter of growth, and the mammogram just can't do it. Forget the fact that these are barbaric, and just one word sums that up. The word happens to be squish, and I'll let it go with that. And then finally, of course, the rules have changed because you'll find them changing even more. The medical politic cannot justify exposing breast tissue on an annual basis to women, because as they get their mammograms, they get 1 rad of energy from above to below and another rad of energy from the outside to the in on each breast. That's 4 rads of energy with each advancing year, and over the course of 10 years, that's 40 rads of ionizing energy, and that's enough, way more than enough, to set the whole cancer issue in play, because X-rays, radiology exposure, radioactive exposure produces the very thing that you're trying to avoid, ladies. So why are you allowing that breast tissue to be completely blasted with ionizing energy on an annual basis? I know they changed the rules. The old rules used to be, well, you start at 40 and just keep on going and get one of these studies a year. They couldn't do that anymore. Medicine wouldn't let them get away with it. Medicine said, oh no, this can now start at age 50. Those from 40 to 50, we don't want you ladies to get that kind of X-ray exposure every year. And who knows when the rules are going to change for the 50-year-olds. Besides, this is a study that has far outlived its usefulness. It is being conducted today the same as it was in the early 1940s and 50s when it was first discovered. And I don't want to hear about 3D, over and under, computerized, digital, and all these other crazy words, because the amount of energy is exactly the same today as it was then, and the study is just as effective today as it was then. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Should say, and it's only fair if I attempt to be so negative about a study such as this. I really do need to bring in a good substitute, which I would recommend that ladies follow. And by now you should know that my go-to study when it comes to truly early detection is something called a thermogram, will suffice to say this: there are no side effects. There's no harm to come to any woman having a thermogram because nothing is shot at them. They end up shooting at the equipment that picks up the heat signatures found on the skin and in the breast. And there is such a variation. There are patterns of that heat signature that indicate that a cancer is brewing. Now, the lesion of 1 millimeter on a thermogram lights up the thermogram the size of my fist, believe it or not. So it's pretty tough to miss a lesion and not be able to identify it way before any of the standard testing could ever reveal such a lesion. And you can take that to the bank. Probably bring the girls from, I guess, Three Rivers to come on board. It's about that time again, once or twice a year. We do ask them to come around. I promise to be able to schedule them in the up and coming months for a show, as well as to let you know they're in my office once a month to do these studies. If any of you ladies in particular, or any men also, would like to have a thermogram to help illuminate a particular medical problem, any of the cancers actually, give us a call at 724-942-3002 and get yourself scheduled. Kim will know exactly what day in the month of May they'll be here, and you should have plenty of time to get that taken care of. Anyway, it came up. I had to talk about it. This study just keeps on being resurrected. It's the only card they have, folks, and as such, they'll keep on playing it. You, as the public, need to be informed about how to avoid this study and should attempt to avoid it like the plague and move into something that's much more meaningful, much more revealing, and meets the battle cry of the best protection is early detection, and that, of course, means early detection enough that should you discover a lesion and rid yourself of the lesion, no potential exists for a metastatic spread to even have occurred. We'll let it go at that. Okay, let's do this. Take a short break. I'm filing that one aside. It's now put away. I've got more, folks. What do you have? Anything you want to come on in and talk to us about is okay with me. The number to do that is 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. We'll be back in just a moment. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health here on a Monday morning version of the show. we've opened it up to you today. If you got a mind to come on in and check in with us, finding out what's on your mind. The number to do that is to dial us up at 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. I'll listen for that knock on the door, and I will let you in the store. Articles have built up over time, sort of cluttered my desk, and this is the day I'm jettisoning most of them. This one caught my attention simply because of the amount of discussion that we've had on my airway about soft drinks. And diet soft drinks in particular turned out to have a very probing and pertinent article that came up not too long ago. The byline of the article was Diet Soft Drink Ads Condemned, and this product's role in weight gain cited in FDA and FTC, that's Federal Trade Commission, petitions. Now, when something like this, folks, citing research suggesting that diet soft drinks and other artificially sweetened products contribute to weight gain, a new advocacy group is asking federal regulators to investigate whether manufacturers, including Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola, have engaged in false or misleading advertising. Now, this California-based group, known as the U.S. Right to Know, filed citizens' petitions calling on the Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Trade Commission to stop those companies from branding artificially sweetened products with the word diet. Consumers are using the products Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi that are advertised to make us think they assist in weight loss, when in fact, ample scientific evidence suggests that this is not true and that the opposite may very well be true. Now, this is what was stated in the petition. Everybody's riled up, and you actually know the answer to why this is the case. I'll relay why it is that that's an accurate complaint that's lodged by this group called U.S. Right to Know, because we've discussed it so many times here already. It's called the cephalic response. And just remember it and hold that thought, and we'll get back to the cephalic response before we leave. We do have a knock on the door, however. Come on the store, and hello, welcome aboard. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dr. Courtney.
Yes.
Yeah, there was something in the news about they're switching from the pink pack to the yellow pack for sweetening, something like that.
Oh, they got pink, they got yellow, and they got blue. All of them are chemicals you don't want to deal with in any way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, every one of those packets end up falling right into the reason why that you actually gain weight from taking any diet drink. Because no matter what the drink, it's got pink or yellow or blue in it. It just depends on what drink and what company. But it's that artificial sweetener that's the problem. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. What else on your mind, Sam?
Hey, several questions. ATP option. Could you re-explain to me what that is and what's in it?
This course is picking up on a conversation you and I had face-to-face. I'm always asked by patients, how do I get my heart working much more efficiently? And, of course, I always think of two things, the fuel and the spark. The fuel in the case of the heart, by preference, is not glucose. I know that's the standard line that most people believe is true. It is not. The preferred sugar is a 5-carbon sugar known as D-ribose. So anytime you want to improve the functioning of the heart, you want to make sure you have the right fuel. D-ribose is the fuel. And you want to make sure you have the right spark. The right spark is something called CoQ10. Many of you have heard about it before. And many of you actually take CoQ10. Unfortunately, it's probably the worst bang for the buck that you ever put out your money for, because this is the most expensive supplement known in the supplement industry. They're very expensive supplements, and here's the bad rub with me. You don't absorb them. In fact, a very small part of the total amount that you take, they recommend doses of well up to 200 milligrams, and you're only probably getting 15 or 20 milligrams of it absorbed. That is really not a good money expenditure and payoff to you. So we have a product, not we, Sir Arnold Takimoto put together a product a number of years ago. He calls it ATP option. And what he's done is he got the D-ribose from the one company who has the patent on it. They're known as Corvalin. And wherever you find D-ribose, it will have come from them. And he's put it into a preparation that he has added not ubiquinone, which is the generic name for CoQ10, but one methyl group away, one CH3 group away is a sister substance to ubiquinone called idebenone. And idebenone is used just the same as the body as CoQ10 is. The difference is it's completely absorbed. It's the better bang for the buck. I always say, don't use CoQ10 when it's such a wasteful amount of use of your money. Use idebenone instead. And that mixture just called ATP option comes from one company. The company's called Bioimmune, and Sir Arnold Takimoto put the product together. Now, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Sam. Those are the ingredients.
Hey, what about ubiquinol? Is that any better or worse?
Of course, they all profess that they have a greater absorption rate when used in an alcohol form. I find that that's not the case, and that's why I'm pretty much sold on using idebenone, which is much more reasonable. Well, it's actually not more reasonably priced, but because you absorb 100% of what you take in, it's more economical for you, because if you take in 50 milligrams, you absorb 50 milligrams. And that's not the case with the CoQ10. So stick with idebenone, I say, to be much more economically pleasing to the pocketbook and still be able to accomplish the objectives of getting you the spark with the right fuel to get your engine running, no matter where the tissue is, but in particular the heart.
But this ATP option, would it help lower a BNP number or help alleviate the heart fibs and flutters?
Yeah, if you said BNP, which is the name of a blood test that we continually get, and that stands, oddly enough, the term represents something called brain natriuretic peptide. And for the life of me, I haven't been able to figure out why something that's so vital to learning how well the heart works is referred to as brain natriuretic. It should be heart natriuretic peptide. But getting over that hump, it's a good measure to find out how well the left ventricle is working. And when the left ventricle gets tired and when it begins to fail, BNP levels go through the roof. And once you see someone has moved into that arena, you have a pretty good marker to follow the success of your treatment. So the answer to your question is absolutely yes. BNP is a good way to follow how efficiently the heart is working overall, but in particularly how well the left ventricle, which is the chamber of the heart that does all the work, how well that chamber is working is what BNP levels are all about.
So the ATP would help lower those numbers?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If somebody was in failure, has an elevated BNP, I would put them on that product around the clock, and then I'd escort them leisurely into ECP to help increase their ejection fraction.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
There it is.
A good adjunct to add with before, during, and after ECP.
Oh, yeah, it is absolutely. They go so together. They go hand in hand. And they're commonly going to be brought up by me in conversation as a dual approach: the fuels and the supplement side versus the procedural side. The two work really well together. I've seen tremendous turnaround with it.
The liposomal C, is there a bowel tolerance for that?
No, in fact, that's the reason why we talk about liposomal C. You know, it's been made fat soluble by the mixing of vitamin C, a water soluble product, with a liposomal form of lecithin. And when you mix these two together, a liposome develops that makes that molecule completely absorbable. So much so there is no bowel tolerance at all. That's why we say to people, you're going to get the big bang for your buck because every bit of vitamin C that you take in will be absorbed, as opposed to virtually none of it being absorbed through the standard preparations, which are water soluble. So, yeah, I'm saying to you, no problem with bowel tolerance when it comes to liposomal.
Last question, if I may. On your repeat program last Friday, Dr. Vincent mentioned on there about a person, or for best results for LDA, and I'm not sure if you said LDI or not. A person should have a vitamin D3 blood level of 100 to 130. Does that mean people should, before using LDA, LDI, be on vitamin D3 to raise their levels up?
Dr. Ty Vincent, you're referring to. And by the way, last Friday's show, unfortunately, it was live. So, must have been talking about another show with Ty. Be that as it may, he's a very large proponent of vitamin D. He's the guy that took 50,000 milligrams a day for about 3 months solid, and he was able to get his levels up to about 130. He felt fine at that level. He continues to go around the country talking about that level. For anybody who does it, he claims that his patients do better on LDI because he is bringing up their vitamin D level. We'll have to have other doctors sort of add their 2 cents into that before it becomes reality, but he feels very strongly about that right now.
Okay, so that's good for LDI use then too.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Sam, great questions. I'm glad you brought them to everybody's attention. And you see, we have another knock on the door. Why don't you come on the store? Hello, welcome aboard. What's on your mind?
Dr. Courtney.
Yes.
I heard you talking about this microcurrent unit.
Yes, sir.
How would you know how to use it? Is there a book on it, or?
No, to get a microcurrent unit, it is only allowed to be dispensed with a doctor's prescription. So we would never have somebody even think about getting a microcurrent unit until we knew what the particular medical reasons were for it, that we had been able to formulate a program specifically to accomplish the objectives that they had in mind. I've become very familiar with microcurrent over the years because Dr. Edward Conrad has used that device with magical outcomes with these 3-day eye programs. Sort of spoiled me because I got to thinking that this is a modality only for eyes, and it turns out it is not. But the short answer to your question is microcurrent units are now available for a whole bunch of reasons, not just eyes. And if we were ever to recommend that you pursue it, it would only be after we figured out with a history what you needed done, and then we would instruct you how to use it. There won't be a book to worry about. We'll make certain that you know how to use it because we've trained you person to person. Okay?
Where do you get this training at?
In my office. You wouldn't be able to get any unit like this without having seen me and have me take a complete history and exam and do labs to find out where is it that you have a weakness that I need to correct. If it turned out to be the eyes, fine. But if it's the heart or the liver or the spleen or the lung or whatever the areas are, there are frequency and programs that can be put together for your benefit. We just got to figure out what you need before we go ahead and write the programs. Okay?
Could you do this in your Monroeville office?
Oh, I can actually have a conversation about this in my Monroeville office, but the proving ground is here in the McMurray office. To think that it would only take a time or two here before we were certain that we had the right programs written, it's well worth the trip to be able to get this accomplished. So I can have some initial discussion with you in the Monroeville office, but the proving ground is right here in McMurray. And as I say, it only takes a few times out here in order to solidify the fact that we have the right programs for you. Okay?
Yeah. Not one more question.
Sure.
You say you're in McMurray. Where's McMurray at?
Oh,
how would I get there? I mean, I live about 20 miles north of Monroeville. How?
Okay. Well, I mean, you got to get. I use shopping centers as my. So you're familiar with the Monroeville Mall? How about the South Hills Village Mall? If you have any idea where that is, I'm about 4 miles south of it on Route 19, which is the mall finds itself on. So if you get to the South Hills and get on Route 19 South, go 4 miles beyond the South Hills Village, and you're there. All right, sir.
I'm still lost. I don't even,
Tell you what.
like I said, I don't know where you get. Where do you get Route 19?
I'll tell you what. Why don't you just call the office? We'll guide you in with the roads that you know. We do it frequently. We're quite used to doing it. So don't fret about it now. Think about it if you'd like to come out, and if you would, we'll make sure you get here. We'll guide you in perfectly. All right?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Very good. Yeah, my office is not that difficult to find, but gentlemen need some specific directions. Here we are coming around the gun lab, folks. We've opened it up to you. We said, come on in here if you got a mind to at 412-825-6262. We have another knock on the door. Come on in the store. Hello, welcome aboard. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dr. Courtney.
Hi.
This is Barb Smith calling.
Hi, Barb.
Thank you so much for the nice advertisements.
Oh, the 40th anniversary. It's a big deal.
And it is a big deal, and it's the third Thursday of May. That's May 21st.
Have I got this right? Let me take a look at this. You know what? I said fourth Thursday. It's the third Thursday.
It's the third Thursday.
All right.
21st.
I had the date right. I didn't have my... Okay. The third Thursday, the 21st, and it's going to be at the day's end, correct?
Correct.
7 o'clock. We did that for so many years, traveling up Route 8, and we're going back to where it all began. Did it all begin, by the way, right there?
No, it began at the Friendship Federal downtown in Butler, which they don't have anymore. It was a bank, and it was in the bottom of the bank. That's where we first began.
40 years ago. And tell me, how did that all start? Who were the first to put that together?
Bill Deemer. Bill and Carolyn Deemer.
Bill and Carolyn Deemer. Are they still with us? Are they still here?
Bill is. Carolyn died a year later. Which, back then, we didn't have the information that we have now.
No, you certainly...
I believe she'd still be alive. We didn't have much to work with then.
But
they're the ones that started the group.
They started the group, and boy, you've had such guests over the years, and done a great public service. I can't support you enough. Of course, I've
read. Thank you for your support. We appreciate that very, very much.
Well, you'll continue to get it, and look forward to seeing you up there. All right?
Okay.
Thank you, Barb.
And have a wonderful day.
You too. There you have it, folks. The 40th anniversary started in the bottom of a bank. I didn't know that. Hey, I promised to give you the payoff of that diet soft drink issue, because they're right. You put on weight with diet drink. Why do you do that? Well, because even though there are no the blue, the pink, and the yellow, and whatever else, whatever the chemical substance is that you're using, has no calories, but it's extremely sweet. I mean, that's why they use it, right? There's a problem, however. When you have a sweetened drink like that, you have what's known as the cephalic response. I mentioned this when we were talking about the Beresha products, and we need to get a Beresha update. It's been a while since we had Dr. Angela on the airways. But the cephalic was something I first learned about when I was studying and learning more about the Beresha line, because what that is the moment something sweet hits the tongue, this has evolved over centuries and time to trigger a hormonal release because of the sweet taste. And the hormone that gets released is the hormone you don't want to have released. It's a hormone that's saying, get ready because a big meal is coming. And unfortunately, a big meal could be a diet soft drink. But the hormones that get secreted are insulin. And insulin is not the hormone that you want in overabundance. The pancreas of human beings of this era are hair triggered to secrete large amounts of insulin, which prepare the body for the big meal, the big fat meal. And so your appetite's going to go through the roof, and any calories that you happen to take, especially of the carbohydrate variety, will be used to put on weight and not take them off. Now, they mention nothing about the cephalic response in this little article. They just said, hey, if you take diet drinks, you actually gain weight. And that's true. So I don't know how Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola are going to fend this one off because scientifically they got a loser. I think they know all too well that the people who are complaining have really science behind them, and science should win out. I say should, but you just never know when economics are involved. Actually, you probably do know that they don't have a snowball's chance, and you know what, of getting the diet drinks to quit advertising the fact that they lose weight. Almost sure of it. But you, as an educated consumer, will not be privy and won't be prey, I guess better said, won't be prey to those outlandish statements. You learned about cephalic here, and it makes you stronger. And as you become educated, you are a solid bastion out there that, well, I'm just glad I have some small role to play in getting you educated enough so you can tolerate the assault that's coming at you, and it's just a huge assault each and every day. All right. We got Bill in the background working out on his piano, playing the chopsticks. I enjoyed today. Thanks for helping participate and making this show what it was. I look forward to see you on Wednesday. Get ready for May. Strap it on. It's going to get a little bumpy around here. We got one more show until all that starts. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for AIM Impact on Your Health.